Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to, well, Happy New Year, right? It's a new year. Haven't seen most of you since last year. That's been my go-to joke since January 1st. Welcome to Knowledge Bytes, AI-powered teaching, elevate, innovate, differentiation series. Right now, we're in session three, AI in curriculum development and content creation. We're thrilled to be sharing a lot of these tools. There's so many tools out there. We are just grabbing a couple of them that are promising and are useful to the field. But like we say, there's ton for you to practice around and ask questions and all that stuff. Just as a FYI, the presentations are set up for us to, yes, present and give you like a little showcase, but we also want to include some hands-on practice. So when we go into the breakout, any additional questions that you might have and things like that, onto getting in and setting it up will guide to that part. My name is Jose Adorno. I'm the digital ATN coordinator, and I have here Brianna Patriarca. She's with us with digital ATN technology specialist as well. Do you want to say something before I jump in,
No, no,
Brianna?
I'm good.
Thank you for very much for coming here today with us. So the objectives for today. So number one, we're going to learn to use AI tools for creating and designing educational content. It's going to be a magical experience. I feel like I'm at Disney when you're looking at the name of the AI tools, pretty much. Number two, we're going to use prompts to create AI-driven strategies for engaging and accessible curriculum design. We are also going to discover AI-supported lesson planning to enhance educational materials and inclusivity. And last but not least, we're going to be participate. There's going to be a Q&A session where participants will can bring their questions involving AI-powered teaching and curriculum development and content creation. This will be after the hands-on practice with some of the two tools that we have today. And with that, let's start talking briefly of what is open and closed AI. The term of open and closed is based on the functionality and data set from the AI program being used. Open referring to having a wider set of data information on different topics and areas. These what like a lot it's been known as like language-based models. And then you have the closed AI, which refers to like a smaller, more specific data set. I'm going to look at a couple of characteristics just so we look at a difference for each. So for OpenAI, we have larger and varied data sets. It can show knowledge on a variety of topics. Um, it needs specific and detailed prompts to obtain desired responses because the data set is so large. It's just going to fill in the gaps of what it thinks that you're talking about, right? And it offers more natural language responses. These are more like what they call like language-based models. So OpenAI is great to kickstart projects with outlines and ideas. It also generates it can generate full lessons. It can understand a lot of the context. It pulls from a lot of websites and information. Um, just so you know that because it does that, sometimes it doesn't necessarily refer to where it's picking up from. So right, you kind of talking to a guru, but you have to you're pretty much trusting what it's saying, right? The closed AI has a smaller data set and instructions, are specialized to offer content specific responses based on its intended design. It it does not require detailed prompts to attain desired responses, and closed AI is great to differentiate materials and replicate or get similar results across prompts. So here are a couple examples of open and closed AI. For open, we have ChatGPT, which is kind of the one's in the lead because it was the first big one that really shared a lot of information, or not information, that they're really open with the possibilities, right? You have Google Bard, Microsoft Bing, Influence AI. These are some options. There are going to be links here so you could access them. For closed AI, you have Magic School AI, Diffit, CurryPod, and website assistant bots. So you're looking at, let's say, I've been using Verizon to kind of fix my something on my plan, and the first person that greets you is not person, is a bot, right? So then it kind of goes through the knowledge base and talks about it. That's an example of a closed AI. And you have a link down here if you want to find out about more tools. You could find 30 AI classroom tools by visiting the Ditch That textbook. The link is included there, and he has a list of like all these different tools, different categories, and things that you could also look into. Brianna.
Right. I am actually going to switch to my screen real quick because I actually have a short video to share on one of my slides.
Oh, definitely.
Okay. So when we look at open and closed AI prompts, they're a little bit different. With OpenAI, you are starting with a completely blank slate. So you need to provide the criteria and the context for what you want in terms of your task and how you want the output of that prompt to be formatted. So oftentimes these are longer prompts, and it can be challenging to get the responses that are in classroom ready format. So for example, if I want to create a worksheet in which students analyze a chart or table data in ChatGPT, I would need to specify, the grade level that I want the data to be in a chart or table format, or maybe in a graph format. And, I would need to specify the number of questions that I want related to that table. And I would have to specify the data that I want on the table. And I would have to create all this kind of from the top of my head. So there's nothing telling me this is the criteria that I need to generate this type of prompt. With closed AI, the AI is built for a specific task or format. And typically the tool has specific fields that I would use to build my prompt, such as topic, format, standards, or objectives, things like that. So going with that kind of same example of building out a worksheet where we're analyzing chart and table data, I would go to a specific tool, such as data table analysis tool, in whatever site I'm using for AI. And the tool has fields that specify the data that I want generated, the grade level, the number of questions. So I don't have to think about that ahead of time. It's kind of telling me this is the information we need to build this data analysis tool that you can use with your students. So overall, in my personal opinion, closed AI is a little bit easier because you're kind of going into it knowing exactly what you want, and it's going to prompt you to give it the information you need, versus open AI, where you have to go in and provide it with every detail to kind of get that response that you want. So as kind of Jose mentioned earlier, OpenAI is it's generally good for kind of that initial brainstorming and kind of outlining pieces. And there's a lot of closed AI tools that have that kind of specific thing that you're looking for that are a little bit easier to utilize to get something that's more classroom ready. So before we kind of dive into the tools, we need to talk about some AI best practices. And oops, I forgot to move this over. There we go. Does anyone remember the State Farm video? If so, feel free to give a thumbs up. I'm just going to play it. It's very quick.
I thought State Farm didn't have all those apps.
Where'd you hear that?
The internet.
And you believed it?
Yeah. They can't put anything on the internet that isn't true.
Where'd you hear that? The internet.
Oh, look. Here comes my date. I met him on the internet. He's a French model.
Bonjour.
State Farm, more mobile than ever. Get to a better state.
So, oops, that's my presented notes. There we go. So with AI, and really with anything, we always want to check for bias and accuracy to make sure that what we are getting in our output is actually accurate. It is not going to be giving misinformation. And I absolutely love that video because it's just so hilariously accurate on what's out there online, and some of the information that we get. We also want to not rely on AI for 100% of the work. The best practice is really to approach it with an 80-20 mindset. So use AI for that initial 80% of the work, but you want to make sure to add your final touch, review for bias and accuracy, and contextualize appropriately for that last 20% of the work. Excuse me. We also want to treat AI generated content as a starting point, not a final solution. So we always want to make sure that we're adhering to our school's guidelines, and we want to use our professional judgment to make sure that this is a usable tool that is also going to benefit our students. And AI's knowledge can have certain restrictions. For example, one of the ChatGPT versions and one of the tools that we will be sharing today called Magic School only covers events up to 2021. So we want to be aware of that limit when we're dealing with more recent topics and utilizing the tools to generate material around more recent topics. And we always want to make sure that we're protecting privacy. We don't want to include personal student details like names or addresses or any other personal identifying information. Anything that we generally put into an AI tool, it is potentially being added to that tool's database and could, potentially get outputted somewhere else. So we just always want to make sure we check out the terms and services for AI tools. So the ones that we are using today in our presentation, Magic School and Canva, are linked in the slideshow. Oops, it's kind of hidden by my bar at the bottom here. But definitely always check out those terms before you utilize a tool so you know exactly what information is potentially being captured. And
I could say it quickly. So it's
Yep.
make sure to check out the terms of service for AI use for Magic School and Canva.
Yes.
And they both have a link to see for each one. They have like a lot of very good information with that. So when you get the sites, feel free to check them out.
And then we are back to you, Jose.
Okay, awesome. So now we're going to talk about curriculum components. And just as a point of reference, right, we used ChatGPT to put these bullet points up. This is a good example of what it could generate and let you know. Like, so once we go into the tool, I'll show you what was the prompt. But basically, it gave us these 8. And what we did is we looked at each one and then we tweaked it based on what we would agree to or what applied to what we wanted to present. But we wanted to give you a visual of how this is going to look at when you're using AI and how much it could generate and how great everything sounds, right? So, you don't want to have a French model when you're trying to present some of these things in the classroom. So as a point of reference, right? This is what was generated. So everything that we worked with the tools falls in one or more of these categories. So we have needs assessment, defining goals and objectives, content selection and organization, choosing and developing instructional methods, creating assessment strategies, implementation, review and evaluation, in alignment with standards. We included a brief description of what it had generated here, but just as a point of reference, we are talking about curriculum and it's going to be falling into one of these areas as we see some of the tools or content that has been generated. If you have any questions, just feel free to put it in the chat. Brianna and I will see while I'm presenting. I'll have Brianna take a look, but when she's presenting, I'll take a look. So we'll always be checking the chat as well. So with that, we have our first program, which is AI program Magic Studio. I told you it was going to be magical today. And Magic Studio is Canva's set of AI tools that are tailored to support users across different projects available. When you receive the presentation, you could click on each option to access Canvas explanation and examples on the use of each of the tools. When you receive the presentation, you click on Magic Studio, it's going to bring you to like their main page. They highlight like all these things that you could do with Magic Studio. The reality is that some of these tasks that you could do fall within any one of these programs here. So for reference, we took a look at the different tools. We listed the tools here. All of these will take you to a designated web page that talks about the tool, but it's a lot easier to look at versus like all the different options. It's very visual, very pretty. But just so you know, like all these links, if you just wanted to work on one thing, you could click on it and just see how that tool works in specific versus everything. Last minute, I was thinking about what this reminded me of, and this is like version 2 of Clippy, I like to say. So I asked the AI generator to create a Clippy wearing a magic hat. It was a little tricky, but it's supposed to be a Clippy. And the reason why we wanted to do it with the magic hat is because it's not just creating content, but it's also organizing what's already in Canva, which is a vast library of images, templates, and everything. So it's kind of a combination of the two, more like a navigator, but also something that's just creating new things based on what you need. The first tool we are going to look at, and for time's sake, being specific to include only 3 for the purpose of today's presentation. The first one is Magic Write, and Magic Write is powered by OpenAI and is designed in a similar way to how ChatGPT works, but it is embedded in a document or a presentation. This tool can support you with brainstorm faster and find new ideas. It helps you create outlines. It can generate paragraphs. It can edit content that you're already putting in. It could generate a short form text. It could create lists, rewriting. It could rewrite what you put in, help you paraphrase, generate long form text, and more. This is directly from the page. I wanted to shift it up a little bit, but they do such an amazing job with how they label everything. I just recommend you go through each one and you can see what they do. But this is some of the things like they highlighted with Magic Write. So Magic Write is embedded across the different design options. In the docs, there's 2 ways you could see it. Number 1, you could click on the plus on the line where the caret or the text cursor is located. So it's going to show up like this, right? And when you click on it, it's going to give you some options to summarize and things like that. We're going to go hands-on in a minute so I can show you. The second way you could find it is that you could highlight the text to prompt the Magic Write button to appear. So this only shows up when you're highlighting portion of the text. And when you do that, it'll give you other options. It'll give you the same options, but it kind of gives you some extra stuff in there when you go in. Also, you could see it under presentation. And under, there you go, my bad. When you do it under presentation, you're going to see this button, and this is going to be in the bottom right corner. That would open Magic Write. And you'll see it, we'll see it when we go in on the design, but you'll see it like around the corner here. And then you can select the text box by clicking once to show the Magic Write button, which is very similar, just to look slightly different. And that's like whatever the text box in the presentation that you're trying to look to type on, you click on it once, and then it'll give you the Magic Write option. And then we have here another image created by AI image generator. So we're going to click in to look at Magic Write. Can everyone, I need to zoom in a little bit more. Is that better? So right now we have the curriculum components. This is what we looked at in the beginning where we had the, that we used with ChatGPT. So the prompt was, what does curriculum design entail? And it was putting something there quick to see what it comes up. We did a couple tries there, and then it just generated this information, right? Now, as you continue, we have here a few examples using Magic Write. So in Magic Write, this here was click the Magic Write button, appears by highlighting the text, and select the more fun option. And then using the same content that we see above, it generated a paragraph, making it more interesting, let's say. So here it says, let's break down the process of creating a top-notch curriculum. First up, we need to figure out what our students need to learn. We look down here, you have a prompt, another prompt, different one. So here it was typed, rewrite each component to include 3 examples. So now you have the same 8 categories, but now each category has 3 examples. So if you're looking at needs assessment, we have conducting surveys and focus groups with students to understand their interests and learning styles, analyzing students' previous academic performance and backgrounds to identify their strengths and weaknesses, and 3, using differentiated instruction to cater to students with varying abilities and needs. Again, this is just putting that prompt there, reading into the context of the content that you already have, then it kind of expands on it. Here we have another one that says rewrite the components to get teachers excited to work on each section, right? Just to kind of see like if you were presenting in a PD. And then it says, let's get excited about each section of our meeting. And this is not that great of a start, right? But we're going to start here. I just click on it once and you see that we have that add magic button. What I'll do is that I'll click on it, or I highlighted, right, the section, and now I have the other magic button. So these are both the same, but here you get a limit, you get 4 actions: summarize, expand, rewrite, and edit with Magic Write. Here it has some additional options. So it'll say continue writing, you have your summarize and rewrite, you have more fun, more formal, sprinkle fairy dust. So if I click here on more fun, now you look at down here and it says, get ready to pump up the volume and jazz up each section of our meeting. Together, we're about to unleash a mind-blowing impact on our epic students, right? And you could just keep generating and it'll never give you the same option. So if you really liked one and you left it or you closed it, you can't, it won't replicate the same one. So it'll always give you something different. But here's an example, right? You could also, I'm just gonna undo this quick. Let's say we wanted to, I'll show you this how it will look. I'm gonna highlight all this here. I'm gonna click on Magic Write, and I'm just going, oh, I wanna do the other one, my bad. I'm gonna click here on the plus. When you do edit with Magic Write, you'll have the options here. I forgot to show you. I like to copy because whenever you're bolding and things like that, it doesn't always translate properly. So when you do plus and you do edit, what I will do is I will just paste the entire piece and I type what I want it to say. So please give me summarize, not summarize. one example that can be used to teach in the classroom. Now, because I just said one example, it automatically is giving me all example based on everything that I'm giving here. So this is a great example of you have to be a little bit more specific, which is why it looks a little bit more like ChatGPT. So here it's saying creating a mock trial, right? And it's giving content here that you could look at. Now, let's say that I'm already set and this is what I want to work on. I want to use this as a presentation. And this is going to bring us to the second tool, which is convert. In order to convert, you have this button up here. When you click on convert, it's going to give you the option to make everything that's in the document as a presentation. So you click on get started. Now here you have a few templates. And it'll give you some of the information. This is not perfect, but it'll give you at least the content and organize it based on what you're looking for. So that way you don't need to copy and paste back and forth. So like these were the 3 example needs assessment examples, conducting surveys and focus groups with students to understand their interests and learning styles. And you have the 3 examples here. So when you click on create my example, you already have all your slides preloaded with the content from the document. So then here you could edit, make sure you add what you would like to use, what you don't want to use, so on and so forth. Okay. Can you see the presentation right now? Yep, okay. Right, so that's magic switch. That's what we were just talking about, the convert piece, right? Which allows you to swap formats, languages, and dimensions in a snap, transform your deck to different kinds of docs, instantly reformatting and design for multiple platforms, or auto-translate them without leaving the page. So the 2 ways to do this, right? If you're translating text, which I didn't show you, it's on the doc side, is that when you get this magic write option, you click on this is the more section, and then you select translate. And then if you're doing the convert to presentations, then you would click on the convert, which is what we just saw on the presentation. I mean, on the example. The second piece is the magic design, which is currently in beta, and it's the first tool you encounter when you go to Canva. This is the icon when you go to canva.com that shows up. It helps visualize your ideas by creating templates using different texts, layouts, images, color palettes, and more. All the designs can be customized to your needs, and it uses the resources available in Canva. In Canva's vast library to match the prompt you provide. And this is what shows up. So when we go into the next section, you'll see that it asks you here. I won't model this when it's creating the templates, but I'll show you how the layouts work, which could share how it looks like for each slide. Like if you don't like how it looks, you could get some ideas that way. But you can find templates, layouts, and styles. And then you could also access it either by clicking on design, which is on the top left, or by clicking on the bottom right, well, you'll see this image, this icon. So as we see here, we're back into the presentation that we already moved into slide. And I keep calling it slides, into the presentation. You have the image here. This is the Canva assistant. So it'll, based on what's happening on the presentation is what's going to recommend the next step. That's the reference to Clippy with the Word days. So if you go here, let me go to a better one. So you review and evaluation examples. You could go here to layouts. And what it'll do is it'll reorganize the slide to give you a different way to view that information. So I could say, oh, look, I like this one, right? And then all of a sudden, that's going to be the new template for it. I mean, not template, that's the layout for that slide. So it'll give you a few examples that you can use to generate without going to this, trying to, you freeze because you don't know how to design your slide. And you just get numerous of different ones. And then these here just shows that you could add an image in, which will bring me to the next one. I'm gonna use you could do AI generator, image generator, and I could see create a person. A person that is evaluating a form. I'm trying to keep it very simple right now. Are there any questions, Brianna? I'm sorry, I can't see.
Yep. I was going to interrupt you so you were done with your generation. Melissa asked, so this looks similar to PowerPoint that suggests different layouts. How is it different if it is?
Yes, so it's very similar to PowerPoint, if not the same. Canva has a lot of images and templates and stuff that's already available, like right on the platform. So sometimes you're kind of using a combination of creating something with AI or just applying a template across the entire presentation. It's very simple to do once you know how to get to it. The thing with Canva, which I didn't mention earlier, is that Canva has an educator account that's for free. If you have the free Canva, you're very limited on a lot of it, but because it's free for educators, there's a process that needs to be completed. You have to submit a form, or verify that you're a teacher in that, and then you could get like the pro features, which includes tons of different templates and images, and they're like very high quality images too. So you'll get like a full resolution, high quality image, and it doesn't look like pixelated because you got it from the internet. It looks all like blurry and things like that. So here, this is me generating someone. No, let me see. This prompt should be on here. A person that is evaluating a form, right? So I could do this, and I already have the image here. And you can use this. It generates 4 at a time, and then you could ask it to generate it. Or I said that's not what I wanted. I could go and refine it, and that kind of thing, and it'll keep generating until you get something that you like. Was there another question, Brianna, before I?
Nope.
And then these are like, if you're looking at, let's go back to this one over here. This is a great way for you to align. Sometimes searching for an image that you're trying to match the description is difficult. Canva itself has a lot of images that you could just find without needing to use the AI piece. But in addition to that, you have all that AI piece. Person evaluating a form, right? So I'm just a from. Just for context, this is just showing what's already in Canva instead. So then you have the images here. Employee performance evaluation. These are not AI generated. This is using just the search within Canva to get additional information. And then this is what I mean like by the by the high quality, the quality of the image. So you can go like this, and then all of a sudden, you get a nice image that you can use. And all this is like included with the education account. Okay, so the AI image generator is what we just saw, which is in the images. You scroll down a little bit, and it'll prompt you for the image generator. This is a good example of some bias. So I had put in, before I thought about including all the prompts, that I wanted to have an assistant that had magic hat, right? And what one of the options were, it gave me a coffee cup with the hat, because you look online and movies, things like that, then the assistant grabs you coffee or something like that, and then you just have that coffee cup right there, right? It's not necessarily the term of it, but then you could see and some of that bias that comes in when you're looking at the images. This was another of the 4 images that had generated. And then these, when you're looking again, you could click on the AI photo editor. You could see all these different options right here. And these have like their own pages, so you guys could see how each of them works. Now, we have Magic Eraser here. Before this image was created with ChatGPT. On the left, you have before using Magic Eraser, and then on the right, you have after using Magic Eraser. Is there anything that you notice that's on one and not on the other? You could unmute, you could put it in the chat. Is the Magic Write a free online tool? So Magic Write, good question. Magic Write is a lot of these tools are tied to the subscription model. With the education account, you could access those for free as of this time. We've noticed that a lot of these have been changing as of the time of this recording. If you're watching after, these are included in the educator account. And ChatGPT, the ChatGPT 3.5 is free. 4.0 is a subscription model as well. So those yellow thingies, yes, these are like the construction hats. So I said I wanted curriculum design, and it's assuming that design, architecture and that kind of thing. So you have like a blueprint, you have some puzzle pieces, you have the like construction helmets right here. So this was You just highlight it and it'll just delete the image for you. So these were deleted. You have the word curriculum that was also deleted. That's one of the big things with AI generated content or images. It doesn't spell properly a lot of the time. So we were able to get that out. You also had an extra hand over here. Could have been someone just leaning in, but that was also removed. And yeah, those two construction hats, and then the hand with the helmet. I feel like a little kid when they just hide the hand. So then you get something, you know, even if you're creating something that's not really matching, you could also do it that way. This is just additional. Right before I pass it to you, Brianna, 1 second. I just wanted to show you guys live how to do the eraser. I might need to add a new one. Let me do this. Okay, so if I do upload, I'm gonna upload the this was an image created from using AI, right? So this was with Canva. I click on edit photo and all the tools to edit photos are up here, right? So if I click here, magic eraser, which is the second option, you just brush over what you want to delete. So you do like this, because it's supposed to say Canva, but it said all this other stuff, right? So you highlight like that, you let go. So it's not always perfect, see, but you could do it again. And I'll start to clear it out until it's all gone. You could do the same thing over here. So let's say I don't want this, looks like a hat. So I want to take out the hat. And I want to take out this out. So when you let go, it'll clean it up for you. There you go. Then you have your image that way. Okay, I'm gonna pass it to Brianna.
Okay, and Cesar had actually sent me a direct message asking about how these tools can be used for math courses such as statistics, pre-calculus, and calculus. And so I can say that there are some tools in the next program that I'm going to show you, Magic School, that are specifically for math, but I didn't know if you had a response for how it could be used with Canva.
So Canva, just like with ChatGPT, the magic write piece is very it's a language-based model. So sometimes one of the issues that you find is that when you're trying to apply um more logic-based responses, it's not, you could see more inaccuracies on it. I can't vouch to see how Canva could be used that way, but like image generating purposes or kind of designing presentation or cards and things like that, it will be more like a visual presentation really versus the next tool. I would say would be a better placement for math, I would say.
Okay, so I just shared the link. Before we dive into the next tool, which is Magic School, I just want us to think a little bit about your day and what it's comprised of in terms of the time-consuming tasks that are involved in developing curriculum content. So you can either go to menti.com and enter that code. You can click the link I just sent you in the chat, or you can scan the QR code. You can type as many responses as you want as to what are some time-consuming tasks that are involved in developing your curriculum. I get it. One thing I don't like about having so many screens is then I lose things like This, there we go. Okay. So we have reading, and I'm assuming that that means like reading content or reading for yourself to develop content, or possibly the students reading too. We have annotating, we have multi-level learning, developing those things, the listening, the finding exercises, and yes, finding exercises and content for me was always the most time consuming because I get sucked into a rabbit hole and then I'm just going further and deeper and deeper, and suddenly I've lost where I started. We have alignment, the evaluation and differentiation. Yes, these are all things that take up a lot of our time. I feel like too, even finding content, a lot of times, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. So we're Googling and finding things, and it doesn't 100% align with what we want, or it's a PDF, and to edit it, we have to get it in Word and things like that. That can just take up a lot of your productivity and your time. So Magic School is one of the tools that can potentially help kind of alleviate some of these time consuming tasks. And I had to include this little meme. Students, if you ever want to know what a teacher's mind feels like, imagine a web browser with 2,879 tabs open all the time. I no longer am actively teaching in a classroom at this moment, but I still have that mindset. I have at least probably about 20 tabs open, and that is consistent throughout my day, my daily life. So, I don't know why teachers are complaining that we're not giving them enough time to align the curriculum to the new standards, grade assessments, input the data, generate item analysis, sift through the results, and differentiate instruction. What could they possibly be doing all day? We all know how time consuming teaching can be, between finding everything and aligning it. And then in adult ed, you may be teaching 4 different subject areas in one classroom with multi-level students, and also having to incorporate digital literacy skills and workforce readiness skills, and the list goes on. So how can Magic School AI help you? So with Magic School, you can create instructional materials such as building custom lesson plans, rubrics, and assessments. You can differentiate, so you can easily adjust text and materials to meet students' instructional needs. And you can engage students. You can easily generate emails and newsletters to communicate with students through the site. And you can generate original content that is engaging, relevant, and personalized for your students. And these are all, Magic School is built by educators for educators. So all of their tools are built to lighten teachers' load. So some of the specific tools within Magic School, they have an AI instructional coach named Raina. So she can provide some additional support and ideas for content creation and implementation. They have all of their tools organized into a few different categories. They have planning, student support, communication, productivity, and community. And I will say, and you'll probably see once we get to the site itself, that some of the tools are listed in more than one spot, and they do also have kind of a comprehensive list. So if you weren't sure where it would fall or just kind of look at everything, you can easily do that. Also with Magic School, you can easily connect and export to your Google account. So if you use Google Classroom or Drive, you can easily export those materials to it. So you're not having to spend a lot of time getting it into those places. So one thing I do want to note, because as we're going and using my account to kind of demonstrate the tools, because I signed up for a Magic School account when it kind of was first being beta tested, I ended up getting grandfathered into the trial for the Plus, which conveniently ends like next week. So some of the things that I may be showing you may not be available with the free version. I did include kind of the pricing scale here, just so you're aware. You do have access with the free account to all of the tools. It's just the usage is limited. And I will admit that it is a little weird in how it's limited, because it's based on the overall use of the entire tool and the site versus, you have X number of credits like some other AI type AI tools. But this is here if you did want to look at it a little bit more closely down the line as to what some of the limitations are. Oh, so before we go into breakout rooms, we're gonna oopsies, I lost my mouse. There it is. We are going to actually go take a look at the tool itself. So magicschool.ai is the site. I will chat it to you so you have it. As I said, you can create an account for free. You would just sign up for free. It'll have you confirm your email, and then you should be able to get access. I think with Magic School, the verification email was pretty quick, if I remember. Once you're in, this is what it would look like. As you see, I have the plus for another 8 days, so I guess a little bit more than a week. But the menu is here. It will always default to kind of this comprehensive list of all the tools. We have Raina, our chatbot. So if you wanted some specific instructional recommendations, you can use that here. They also always usually offer suggestions on some additional prompts you can do to kind of further build out your own prompt. And then this third one is the output history. So anything you enter, you can go back in and see what you've submitted and kind of go through. I accidentally, when I was playing around with this and I had a really good prompt one day, and Tool accidentally closed out of my browser, panicked because I couldn't remember what the prompt was and Tool I used, and found it in my output history. So it is nice that it captures that. So let's say that I wanted to do a lesson on persuasion and argument. So I just want to talk about, persuasive techniques and techniques with argument. And I kind of have a basic idea of what I want to do, but I really want to make it project-based. So if I look at the planning, I can see kind of some of the tools that are available. In terms of math, even though it's not necessarily always going to be exactly a clear cut, but you could do the 5E model lesson plan. I'm going to try to highlight those as we go through, or lesson plan generator. But for my example, I want to do project-based learning. I want to create a full plan. So with OpenAI, like if I go to ChatGPT, it's just kind of a message text format, and then I have to like front load all of the information. And that's with that OpenAI format. With this, because it's closed, it is giving me specific things that it needs to generate the prompt, and it is very limited in what it's going to output to this criteria. So I can select my grade level. Although this is meant kind of initially for K-12, you would just pick kind of the grade level that they are performing at for your students. So if it's a lower level ESL, you might go to a lower grade level. But let's just say mine are roughly around a 10th grade level. And I want them to, once again, do something around persuasive writing. So, and because I work for Digital ATDN, I'm always looking for those opportunities to insert kind of some digital citizenship skills. So I'm going to do impact of technology is the topic. Topic is impact of technology, and I want to incorporate persuasive writing, and I want to include, what's the word, and types of argument. Okay, I can provide some additional details. If I had a specific standard I wanted to align it to, I could. I don't have those ready to go to copy and paste from, so I'm going to exclude that. But maybe I do want to do it with the CCSS or CCRS. If you do CCRS, it usually just automatically kind of defaults to CCS. And then I'm going to generate. And so it is going to write out this project-based learning. It's going to have that Driving questions. So how does technology shape our society, and how can we effectively communicate its impact through persuasive writing? It gives me some real world context to share with my students. It's going to do an in-depth inquiry where students engage in in-depth research to understand the complexities of impact of technology. They explore different perspectives and ethical implications. And then we'll ask some thoughtful questions. It always offers student voice and choice with the project-based learning. So they are able to look at a specific area of interest to further dive into the role of technology. They reflect throughout the process. There's critiquing and revision. They always produce a public product. This is kind of just the general outline of what will always populate for project-based learning. So whether it's a blog post, a speech, and you could further build out on this. There's collaboration and so on and so on. And then we have our aligned standards. So this would be a good spot to really like kind of build out some ideas and maybe have a larger project to kind of base the rest of my lesson or unit off of. And maybe I want some additional information. Once again, it always is going to give you kind of some sample additional prompts to build out. You know, how can students choose their focus within the topic? What types of assessments will be used? You can go to actions. I could translate this. So maybe I wanted this available in Spanish and to use this as a guide and give it directly to my students. Or maybe I want some multiple choice questions, let's say. And so I can keep building this out and building this out and building this out just within here. You can copy this. So maybe I don't use Google and I just want this in a Word doc. I can just copy and paste it. I can also save this resource. I can give it a title. And I can export it. So you can export it to Word. Sorry, I forgot that you can do that now. Or Google Docs. Once again, this might be limited with the free. I know it is available with the Plus. And I can, you know, kind of let Magic School AI know that they did a good job with this one and provide some additional feedback, or let them know that this was way off the mark, which I do recommend doing with any AI because that's going to help strengthen it down the line. So maybe I have this initial prompt for project based, but I want to build it out a little bit further. And I have this idea for an assignment. I want to have them write a opinion letter to an editor, let's say, arguing their stance on the impact of AI and technology. And so I know, because I looked this up in advance to save time, that this is an intellectual prep tool that I want to use. And I want to scaffold this assignment. And maybe I want to make it relevant. You could also use this for those calculus and statistical problems as well. So I could do that if I wanted to really connect it for students. But for assignment scaffolder, same thing, right? I have very limited fields to build my prompt from, so I can stick with that 10th grade level. I can give a basic assignment prompt. So write a 5-paragraph opinion letter on the impacts of technology. Should probably put persuasive. Write a 5-paragraph persuasive opinion letter on the impacts of technology. And this is very kind of a broad prompt. I would probably be a little bit more specific in terms of what I want my students can to do, not do, things like that. Possible leveling information as well, based on, you know, the students and what I know about their interests and levels. So we see it breaks it down, right? They need to read the task, understand the objective. They should do some brainstorming and research. They should start by writing their introductory paragraph, their body paragraphs, counter argument, conclusion. So it really breaks it down. I used to do this with my lower level students when I was teaching, and this is just another thing to have to generate and type out, which would probably have taken me like a half hour to 45 minutes to put this all through, put this all into a document and then have examples. Whereas now the kind of bulk of it is done and probably take me 10, 15 minutes. So a fraction of the time to kind of edit this to work for my students. All right. And, you can see that this within Magic School, I forget exactly how many tools they have, but it is quite a bit. There's even a joke generator. I actually use this. I taught a cybersecurity training for EastCon. And so I actually use this to generate some cybersecurity jokes that I just kind of peppered throughout to kind of grab attention. Some of them aren't the best, but there are a couple good dad jokes, if you want to call them that, that it will populate. And you can always too do an exemplar. So it'll give you an example of, a type of prompt and what it would generate and so on. So from the student's perspective, how can they use this tool in their routine life? So this is, that is an excellent question. This is definitely meant for teachers to utilize in their routine life. Sorry, I just realized that was a direct message. So the question was, from the student's perspective, how can they use this tool in their routine life? This is definitely meant for teachers to utilize. I do think there is a lot that we can teach students on how they can use AI, such as ChatGPT, to support their life outside of the classroom as well as in the classroom. And I know that Digital ATN has plans down the line to explore that a little further. But for right now, we are kind of focusing on the more teacher-based tools because we want to save you time and effort as well. And also give you an opportunity to learn more about these tools and how they can be utilized in the classroom on your end. There are probably some that could be utilized by students. Yep. Like you could do a text summarizer as well that will help students. And in terms of routine life, there are some behavior intervention and suggestions and accommodation suggestions. So if you know that they struggle with certain things, there are recommendations that you could use based from this that they could incorporate into their routines that could be helpful. I hope that answers it. That's a little bit of a tough question since this is such a teacher-based tool. Any other questions about Magic School AI? I know we did want to include allow some time for you to potentially use and navigate these. And Jose did share that Canva would offer a more routine-based support like translate, paraphrasing, and other examples. Yeah. All right, and I'll go back into our presentation with the breakout rooms. I'll let you take over this part, Jose.
Okie dokie. Oops, sorry. I kept I used to watch the screen. Okay. So originally what we wanted to do is offer breakout rooms, right? I think that we could spend some time, but just be here in the same virtual room. And if there's anything specific that you guys wanted to ask or cover, and we could probably do a breakout room then. But in the meantime, I think we could, because of the small group, we could just do that here together. So there's one option you have with Canva will be content and lesson design, and then in Magic School, create activities. We included 2 scenarios here. You don't have to pick these 2, but if you needed an idea to kind of get started, you could use these. So for scenario 1, we have local services or events, kind of geared for ESL and GED. Some topic ideas, or ways to approach it, right, will be like how to participate in a local service or event, or like some of identifying what are the requirements for any of these, right? Flyers and things like that. And then in scenario 2, you have budgeting basics. So we have your ESL, GED, NEDP, and CDP. And for your topic ideas, we have credit/loans, planning a shopping trip. Do you want to add anything to this, Brianna?
Nope, just as Jose said, we just wanted to give you time to explore the tools itself and kind of see how they work. And if you had any questions or if there's anything else, I guess, that you want us to demonstrate that it can do. If you're not seeing it, scenario 2. Okay, so I would like more of the math. A demonstration of what's in there for math.
Oh, you can take it away.
Yeah, I have 3 screens, so I already lost where I was in terms of where Zoom was on my screen. All right, there we go. Yes. It doesn't help that they're out of order too. So it's like 3 is where I would think 1 is. Okay, so back to math tools. I'm gonna actually just search math. Oh, and nothing, because I'm not in all. Being completely uncreative and just searching math, I can see that there are a couple math tools in Magic School AI. I can do a math story and it will generate word problems based on that story, or I can do a math spiral review. So I can generate a spiral review problem set for any math standards or topics. I'm not going to lie, math is not my strong suit. So Cesar, if you want to throw out an example, I will be more than happy to plug it in and test it out for you in case you don't have an account. I will do one for math story just to be, to try to throw something in. So we'll stick with that budgeting example. So developing a personal budget is our topic. Let's say, actually, you know what? Let's do with car loans. Buying a car and calculating interest rate for a loan. And story topic is, let's say, Jose is looking to buy a car and isn't sure if he can afford it and should take out a loan. All right, so we have 3 problems, right? We have Jose is considering buying 1 of 2 cars. Car A has a fuel efficiency of 30 miles per gallon. While car B has a fuel efficiency of 25 miles per gallon. If Jose drives an average of 15,000 miles per year, how much money will he save? We have a loan interest calculation one and then a monthly payment one. I could build it out. So how to calculate fuel efficiency. Like I said, not the best with math. So I would have definitely needed that to make sure that the formulas are correct. And you could keep building it out. You could add more questions. Maybe, you know, this is a little too advanced for them. I can go back in and edit my prompt and drop it down to a lower grade and rewrite it. And so on. Does it provide a solution to the questions? Let's ask. Answers to these questions. Oops. Oops. And you can tell everyone else has left my office because now it's sending me in dark. So yep, as long as I ask, it will generate it. I will say that some of the other ones, it does automatically provide those. And one big thing to note is you should always double check the math. I think it was in the chat GPT with Jose or one of the other ones I attended. You know, there have been instances where math teachers have been like, I did this and the math was wrong. So once again, we always want to check for bias and accuracy to make sure that this is correct and that the formulas are correct. But yep, you could build it out. There's also some science tools in here. I actually use the, I think it was called the 5Es. Yep, 5E model lesson plan. We do have a couple examples in our slide deck of ways you could build this out for a lesson. Like, for example, the one I did in persuasion, some of those examples. So that way it's there kind of for after the presentation for you to reference. This one you could do with math as well, testing out certain formulas or concepts to do. I did it, I think, for impact of social media on mental health. And it actually kind of built out like a rough outline of basically a project where they would survey other students on the impact of social media, and then calculating the data and things like that. So you could also use this as well to build on math concepts. Yeah, so these are definitely on the newer side, and they're so exciting. I highly recommend, I'm sure Jose is going to do a plug down the line as well, but attending our next session, we're going to be showcasing one of my personal favorite AI tools, which is very similar to Magic School, but it's a little bit different and offers a little bit more in terms of building out and easily exporting and having like a classroom ready tool. There's just so many, so many amazing tools that are out there. Yeah, there's a lot, and there is a lot to learn about AI. It's an exciting new resource that is just moving at a very fast pace.
I did say it was magical. They
It
both
is
have
very
magic.
magical.
Magic School and Canva Magic.
I didn't even catch that, Jose, until you said it. I was kind of chuckling because I'm like, oh yeah, all the Canva tools are magic. To get also a direct message about wanting to explore. We do recommend exploring these tools and testing them out. They are free. I went on an AI binge one week and literally spent probably about 20 more hours than I should have playing around with all these different AI tools before I recommended them for presentations or for being shared as tools for teachers. Because you definitely want to make sure that it is legitimate and going to be a benefit and not a deterrent to education before sharing. But definitely take advantage while you can of getting into and utilizing and practicing it. I love these tools just because of how easy they are to utilize and how quick it is to generate content. And all the tools we really share are kind of following along those lines, maybe aside from ChatGPT, but we did share a resource to make it even easier to build prompts in ChatGPT in last month's training.
Is there a question? Oh, okay.
Complimenting
Thank you,
us.
sister. Thank you. So we're gonna share this out with you, right? We have a couple examples of what you could do with a topic and some of the features. Due to time, I'm not going to go into too much of it, but you have like the tools here on the left, but what's the tools being used? This just links you to the Canva page for that tool, and then what you could do to create how do you create that activity or that resource, right? So this one is using Canva. Brianna, you want to talk about yours?
Yep. So very similar. The kind of purple ones, there's two, are for Magic School. So same idea. If you click on it, it will actually take you to a sample of the tool. So you do need an account to access it and to actually see it. And if you wanted to use it, you can actually just continue building on that tool to build it out for how you want it to use for your classroom. But yeah, there were a couple of those. And if you actually want to go two more, Jose. Oh, yep, one more. There are a few slides that look very similar to this that highlight specific tools in Magic School. This one is for all teachers. There's also one for science teachers and then one for math teachers. So Cesar, I'm looking at you.
There you go.
And some specific tools within Magic School that you could utilize for those. I feel like for English and reading language arts, there's just a lot of very obvious ones, and there were way too many to list. But definitely check them out and explore them. There may be some that I didn't list here that you could also apply as a math teacher or science teacher.
And last but not least, we in Digital ATN, we offer tech support, and we offer it for free to teachers. There's no cost involved. You could schedule a 20-minute session. If we're doing one-on-one, you could do, if we've had some agencies to kind of pull in a couple teachers together, or just a couple teachers that have a couple questions, and they'll just join together, and we'll do a tech session that way. We could help with doing a demonstration of a tool. We could take a look at all this is based on digital literacy, right? So if you needed to needed a guidance, or you needed someone to just test out the tool and see or the process, see if it's working and things like that. Implementation strategies, you name it. You can schedule it for free. There's a button here where you can schedule an appointment. We are two of the people that will be assisting you from the other side. All of them are virtual and in Zoom. We also have a Let's Tech UK series, or it's a monthly tech tips for adult education teachers in Connecticut. This is a section from the newsletter where you get just different tech tips on, how to, how to find a word in a document that's like 50 pages long and that kind of stuff. We are including AI tips to this section as well, starting with Canva and then expanding to other tools. So if you haven't signed up for the newsletter, you can sign up either at atdnct.org or digital.atdn.org. And yes, we will be emailing the PowerPoints available also in our Digital ATDN website, which I'll click here to show you. When we go to professional development right here on the right side, these are the sessions that are currently running. But if you scroll, if you scroll down to past PD sessions, you have the second Knowledge Byte session, you have presentation, which will be the recording, and then you have the slides, which would be the PowerPoint. So we're gonna have the same thing. These come out in PDF. So if I click on this one, you're gonna see last month, which we had AI Basics from Beginner to Pro with prompt engineering. Brianna created an amazing tool to break down and understand AI prompting, and just give you that framework that you need in order to create a great prompt. And that's available here. The link to access the prompt is here as well. So feel free to watch, and then after you watch, you have a question, you can schedule a tech support session. One of us will be on the other side of the Zoom call and assist you. The link is also added, it's right here. So when you click on it, it'll take you out. I'll actually paste it. You can schedule a tech support session with us as well.